Good morning and happy July 18th. It is Friday, 11 a.m., which means it's time for Big Agent Meeting. My name is Russ Lag, and I will be your host today. And today we're going to kick it off with a new segment we're calling the Attraction Advantage segment. The Attraction Advantage is based off the Attraction Advantage podcast. And if you guys haven't heard already, check out the new logo. Frank Panunto and I have started a new podcast called the Attraction Advantage Podcast. We've been spending a little bit of time getting this thing in development. We've already got 10 interviews in the can ready to rock and roll, and we're going to be taking this to the next level. So for those of you that are interested in attraction, you can find the Attraction Advantage Podcast on YouTube. If you go to YouTube, type in Attraction Advantage Podcast, Russ Lagan or Frank Panunto, that'll pull up a couple of the episodes that we've got listed in there. And then secondly, if you go to Spotify, type in Attraction Advantage Podcast, Russ Lagan, Frank Panunto, or any combination of those, it'll pop up with our couple of our episodes that we've actually loaded into Spotify. So if you guys want to see what we're talking about with attraction and the people we're interviewing about attraction, we're bringing people on the podcast to talk about real life, what works, what doesn't work, what their flavor is, what their style is, what their recipe is to take their business to the next level with attraction. So with that said, I'm going to give you guys step number one. For anybody that wants to get into attraction, every single time I say, here is step number one. Step number one is sphere of influence. You're never going to attract anybody you don't know. They don't know you. They can't put your name down as sponsor, right? So your sphere of influence are the people you know and they know you, people you've done business with, people you're currently doing business with. I would add into there anybody I've ever met that says real estate. I'd also add title people, mortgage people, insurance people, inspection people. All of those people that touch realtors, I make sure they're on my list too. And I want to make sure I add everybody that showed one of my properties. So if I get a listing, I get 20 showings, every single one of those agents should be in my sphere of influence list. Okay. When we did Fast Attract, Brian Ellington and the university team, in conjunction with a number of other people, put together the Fast Attract program, which the pilot is going right now. I've done a number of those sessions. And in those sessions, we start off with, boom, number one, get your sphere of influence list together, because that is your number one key, most easy people to move the ball. Random strangers are a lot harder to move than people you've done a deal with, particularly if you've been nice. Okay, so every week we're going to give you a little part and piece of something, either off of the podcast itself, a tip that I heard that I thought was interesting, or we'll give you step-by-step things you need to do to be able to make better connections for yourself and have this part of the business come to you. Remember, you've got a couple of buckets at EXP. One is trade time for money selling houses. Houses equals cash. The second bucket is people equals cash. And if we put this bucket below here and let this bucket actually flow into this bucket, it makes this business a lot easier. We call that a vertical integration. I'm out selling houses, and in the process of doing that, by the way, I bump into some people. Well, let's leverage that moment now and make this a lot easier for you guys. So there is your Attraction Advantage minute to kick off Big Agent Meeting for July 18th. Next up, we have the one and only Ian Wheatley. Take it away, Ian Wheatley.
Hey there. Happy Friday Focus Day over here at KGCI Real Estate On Air. Well, has your lead gen strategy been hope and hustle? Well, if it is, you don't have a pipeline. You have yourself a bit of a guessing game. And when that market shifted, did you wind up back at zero? Well, let's end that right after the Big Agent Meeting over at KGCI Real Estate On Air, because too many agents treat lead generation like a sprint. They go hard for a couple weeks and they fall off the map, and that's not a business. That is a cycle of burnout. And the truth is, most agents, they don't fail because of bad leads. They fail because they don't have a system. They don't have something that they can track, follow up on, convert, and repeat. That's why this week's Friday Focus, beginning right after the Big Agent Meeting over at KGCI Real Estate On Air, is all about building a lead gen system that feeds you week after week, quarter after quarter, with strategies from agents who've made it work in every kind of market. We're talking CRM structure, we're talking time blocking, reactivation campaigns, how to stop starting from scratch every 30 days, anything under that lead gen sun. You can stream it right at the KGCI Real Estate On Air mobile app for iPhone and Android, always free. Download it there. Or you can scan this QR code. And of course, if you miss it live, the replays are always ready on demand your way, courtesy of KGCI Real Estate On Air.
All right, there you go. Thank you, Ian Wheatley, as always, giving us the KGCI update, what KGCI is doing this week and what's coming down the pike for them for the next week. All right, next up, we have Holly Mabry with Brokerage Brief. Take it away, Holly.
Thanks so much, Russ. Well, there is never a dull moment when we look at everything that's happening across the market. And one of the things that you can always expect from us is making sure that you and your clients are taken care of, because we want to get you the best information as timely as possible. And so we've got a forms update. The wrap and subject to advisory, well, we've made some updates to it because we wanted to make sure that we were taking care of our clients. And really, let's do a quick recap. Subject to mortgage, basically, the original seller's mortgage stays in place. Buyer assumes responsibility. A lot of times they're making payments directly to the seller, whereas a wrap, the seller basically acts as a lender and they wrap a new mortgage around their original, and the buyer is paying the seller directly for both mortgages. It's a little bit tricky. It's a little bit weird, and it's not for everybody. And this is the biggest thing that I want you to know. If I'm a listing agent right now and I see a contract come across that says, hey, this is a subject to, or this is a buyer asking for a wrap because we think you've got an interest rate that's like 3%, awesome. My seller may want to take a look at that. But what's really important, and the first thing we do before even doing a counter offer, is we have our sellers talk to a legal professional, because there's so many nuances with these things. And this is where I really want to dig into that consumer advisory. We now want a client signature, and best practice is absolutely going to be, if I see a contract come across as a listing agent, I'm going to have my seller sign this advisory before they do anything with that offer, because I want them to go talk to a legal professional. The other piece on this is Dodd-Frank requirements. Well, what is Dodd-Frank? This all comes down to lending requirements that really applied to big banks coming out of 2008, and this went into effect in 2010. But what's important here, when you look at Dodd-Frank, it absolutely impacts any seller looking to do a wrap. And as a result, we need to look at a couple of key pieces. First, the seller must own the property being sold and financed. See, they've got to be on title. And if they aren't, if they're acting as a lender, right? So let's say it's my parents' property, but I choose to act as the lender. Guys, I need a mortgage license number to do that. I can't just do that on behalf of my parents. And they couldn't do it the other way either. Also, the seller cannot have constructed the property. This is a really big deal because we had a lot of builders that were doing owner finance or things of that nature back in the early 2000s that were getting people in a bit of jeopardy. Now, 1 in 12. Let's pause and take a look at this. If a seller finances only one property in a 12-month period, cool. That loan may have a balloon payment. Depends on how the seller takes title. Like if they're in an LLC or something like that, they probably can't, but that's a whole nother conversation. But if the seller is going to do more than one in a 12-month period, and this is not January to December, this could be July to next July or June. This could be, in a rotating 12-month period. So very important to look at. If they are going to do more than one, that loan must be fully amortized. No balloon payments. So that's a really big deal. Now, the ability to repay, this is probably the one that gives me the most concern, because for any seller out there, if they don't determine the buyer's ability to repay, and that could be on the wrap, it could be, anything along those lines, and the buyer defaults, the seller's forced to foreclose. In that event, what happens is the buyer, if they say, hey, the seller did not double check my ability to repay, full stop. The seller could be on the hook if they can't prove that they did those direct actions on the buyers. They had a good faith, diligent effort. They'll have to refund the buyer their money, and they may have to pay the buyer treble damages. See, I'm getting your attention now. Number 4, and that ability to repay is huge. And then finally, if you're going to do more than one of these types of loans, the balloon payment, you just can't do it. And also, you can't have an adjustable interest rate. It's got to be the same rate for a minimum of the first 5 years. So there's some things with Dodd-Frank, and we've put those all into the form to help support you. Now, what I appreciate is so many of our associations have really good owner carry documents. And this is the thing. I'm not afraid of owner carry. I've done a lot of them. in my career, especially around vacant land. So it can be a great thing to do. And if you've got somebody who's looking to do an owner carry, a best practice is, hey, have the buyer get qualified with one of your local lenders. And if they qualify, fantastic. Then you've made a diligent, good faith effort to go forward in their ability to repay. But otherwise, the seller might be shooting in the dark and it gets a little bit crazy. So when you start to look at how we use this form, I want you to upgrade again. Always do it if the seller's offering a wrap. Always do it for your buyers if they're like, hey, I read about this online, or I took a class and I'd really like to go down this path. Fantastic. I'm going to have you sign this document because you have some liability here too. You could face a due on sale clause. You could face a seller not making the payments to the lender, all of those things. So what are some things that we need to do to protect you? Now, I'll obviously state that as a real estate licensee, this is a very, very high level transaction. It's not meant for every buyer. But unfortunately, some people are trying to squish everybody into that type of thing. Please take a pause, take a look at this form. It is updated in SkySlope for both realty and commercial. And we want to make sure that you are educating our clients as you go forward. Because at the end of the day, that's the biggest thing. That due on sale clause, the mortgage liability, you could see increased costs, damage to your credit, especially if you are, you're still got the loan in your name. And if the buyer fails to make payments, do you have enough money to cover those payments? That 6, 9, 12 months of loss. It's a big deal. And then of course, do you have the money for the legal fees? These are all questions I want the seller and buyer to be able to answer for themselves. And also those legal considerations. Every state's going to be a little bit different in how they approach this. So knowing what's going on in your local state is going to be important. But then also, are there additional disclosures? Are there additional things that I should be doing? And this, again, all part of the form. We want to make sure you've got what you need to have a better conversation. And I will say on the wraps and subject twos, this is not just on vacant land like I used to do a lot of. We're seeing it more and more on single family and on multifamily. In fact, I talked to an agent, actually a customer the other day. He's not licensed and he had just done an RV park. I was like, okay, tell me about that. We had a great conversation and understanding. But at the end of the day, what disclosures are we making? And y'all, our license doesn't cover some of this. So getting a legal professional involved, getting somebody from a tax perspective, a title or escrow perspective is absolutely critical in all of this. So what you and I can do always, provide the advisory, make sure our clients sign it and make sure we upload it to SkySlope. Also, we want to help facilitate those professional consultations. So don't execute the contract until they've met with their attorney. It's critical not to take action until they have all the information. We actually had a client that executed the contract and then went, I'm going to go talk to an attorney. It cost them money to get out of that contract. And we had advised them properly. So be thoughtful there. And finally, I want you to present all offers. I think it's really important to understand that we are going to present the offer. We want to give our seller or our buyer all the information to make the best choice for themselves and their family. So always prioritize client education. That's what we do here. That's how we're going to continue to roll. And then I want you to present that balanced perspective. What's good for the buyer? What's good for the seller? How do we protect you? And what does your attorney say? And then finally, I need you to very much maintain all of your emails. I want you to follow up any phone call in writing as per our conversation, everything that we always talk about. And finally, please use the new disclosure. It's updated. We want your clients signing it when it's appropriate, but it's not going to be a required form if you're doing just a traditional sale. If you're getting a little bit fancy, if your client's wanting to go down this path, great. Help them, educate them, get them to an attorney. Guys, I love being with you. If I can be of any service, please reach out. And of course, your state brokers have all of this information as well.
All right. Thank you again, Holly Mabry, making sure we are staying up to date on what's going on in the brokerage, what's going on in the world, and what's going on outside of EXP within the brokerage business. So thank you very much for that. Next up, we have the one and only Alyssa Speck talking about University Spotlight. What's going on in University? Alyssa, take it away.
What's up, everybody? Alyssa Specht here, and it's time to talk about what is coming up next at EXP University And y'all, this next weekend is completely stacked. We are serving up some elite production strategies. We're talking automation. We're talking about mastering our mindset. We're talking about leadership, you name it. So if you are serious about leveling up, you need to block your calendar right now. So let's get into it. Let me tell you what's coming up this next week. So join us on Monday for Level Up with Aaron Novello. Now, Aaron, yep, that is 3 show exactly how to do scripts down to systems and prospecting strategies that actually work. So if you are winging your conversations or maybe struggling to actually scale, this session is for you. Make sure you tune in on Monday for Level Up. Then on Thursday, we have got the Executive Masterclass. This is your weekly leadership booster shot. Think about that. We are diving into top trends, into practical tips, and a little bit of a strategy from the best in the biz. So whether you are a team lead, whether you are a solo agent, or you just want to better yourself, this is where you grow with the leaders of EXP. Next, on Friday, we are back here at the Big Agent Meeting with Leo Pareja. So this is a big time moment here. Our CEO, Leo, is going to talk about all the market shifts, tech forward strategy, and about leading with transparency. If you want to thrive in this market, not just survive, this is your session. And then we are going to close out the week with the Lab podcast with Aaron Novello. Yes, again, because he's that good. He is back. But this time we're hitting mindset, lead gen, and lead conversion conversations that close. So guys, this is like real estate therapy meets business boot camp. Bring your notebook, get ready to think bigger. Guys, we have a lot going on. We've got scripts, we've got systems, we've got scalable strategies. So tag your team, block your calendar, and show up ready to learn. See you there.
All right. Thank you, Alyssa Speck. Thank you for giving us an update what university is doing. They're always bringing some amazing stuff to the table. We appreciate you letting us know what you guys are up to so you can plug into the stuff that university brings to the table for you guys. All right. The next session coming up, Winning Clients with Brian Ellington and Ben Lobby. They're going to be talking about sphere of influence and AI and a couple of clips on how you can incorporate that into your business. Take it away, Brian and Ben.
Ben, thanks so much for joining us. Ben Lobby from Central Florida, EXP. Ben, before we get into things, for folks not familiar, how did you become the Ben Lobby that we all know and love? What's been your journey on real estate?
Oh, it's been quite a long one. I'm actually celebrated 10 years this past year, and I didn't think I'd make it that far, but it's been a fun journey. And I originally started at a boutique brokerage and then switched over to EXP, I think about 7 years ago, and started my team here.
Okay, I'm going to need your face routine. 10 years in real estate, you barely look like that's legal. I don't know what age did they license you in Florida. So we were talking before, and look, you're amazing at AI, and would love to talk about that. But you're also amazing at Sphere. So give everybody a sense, and a 4-time icon. What was your production like last year, and what percentage of that would you say comes from Sphere of Influence and your community events?
So I would say of our production last year, so with the team, we did about 175 transactions, and we kind of focused on 50% of the business coming from team-generated leads and 50% coming from sphere of influence, and helping team members grow their sphere of influence, because that's how I grew my business as an independent agent before I launched the team. And it's really like the long-term plan of, building those relationships with people either in your community or your local friends and family, and getting that power of the word of the mouth, right? Of getting referrals and recommendations, because once you help someone and they have a good experience, then they're basically, I just say, okay, this is a new lifetime customer, right? I want this one transaction to be a customer for the rest of their life, so that I'm their person for all of their real estate transactions. I think when you look at it like that, you take a slightly different approach as to how you actually manage your database and market to your sphere and bring people together as a community, and share information with them.
Yeah. You mentioned database, and I know for a lot of agents, it takes them a long time to realize that until you create and work a database of your past clients in your sphere, you're going to be on the treadmill of whatever form of lead generation you have, Facebook, FISBOs, expireds, whatever the case might be. For you, you're working a formal CRM, I'm guessing?
Currently in Follow Boss. Yep.
Okay, in Follow Up Boss. And how long into your 10-year tenure was it before you started building your database? So your actual CRM, I mean.
25 years before I started real estate.
25 years before you started real estate? Is that what you said?
Yeah, is when I started building my database.
Tell me about that. What do you mean by that?
So I remember growing up as a kid, and I couldn't remember everyone's phone number of my friends that I wanted to stay connected with and build relationships with. And so started writing a list down first, and then I would eventually got introduced to computers because they started to exist at that time, and was putting stuff into computers. And I remember in like fifth grade, I actually created a Microsoft Access database where I would like list out my friends and where they lived, their address and their birth date and their phone number. And was very OCD about, having to have complete information, like first name, last name. Like, so when I see someone who has like on their phone, when they have me listed in their phone and it's like, Ben from the gym, I'm like, can I complete that contact for you? Because I didn't get it. That just became a thing. So for me, it's always been, building uh, a Rolodex of people and their information over a long period of time, and it's just like stuck with me. So I highly recommend you have to collect as many little bits of information as possible. And there's just a lot of noise in the world right now, and there's a lot of distractions. And the more that you can put into an organized system, the more personal you can be with your interactions with these people.
We interviewed a bunch of social media agents, Facebook agents, Insta agents, but to a T, what they all shared in their own fashion of saying it was that Instagram, social media platforms, Facebook, whatever your flavor is, it is part of their database. It's just an extension of it. And just like with a fellow, where you would look to see the indicators of activity that are precursors to purchase or sale, just like that shows up on those platforms as well if you're paying attention to it. So I'm glad that you said that. When you do see that sort of thing, what's that outreach sound like? Somebody's graduated, or maybe they post about newly single or whatever the case might be. What's your outreach like?
Well, if they're newly single, now it's easy. It's always like, should I say congratulations or I'm sorry? And then they usually pick one, and then I know how it all ended. So but it's always focusing on that personal event or experience that they had first, whether it's congratulations or my condolences. But like, getting to hear about that experience and celebrating that, right?
Okay.
Before ever saying, hey, I saw you lost your mom on Facebook. How are you taking care of her real estate house that you're going to have to now inherit? Like, I never say anything like that. That'd be, don't do that.
Please.
But it's more so just like staying top of mind. I do find 100% that with sphere of influence, you will get referrals more frequently with in person than any other route.
Can I ask you about AI before we go?
Of course.
So you and I were chatting about this, and I know from our mutual friend Renee Funk that you're I don't know if big AI agent is the right way to say it, but that's how she said it to me. How are you using? Okay, good. So how are you using AI on your team?
On the team, so we are doing it a couple different ways. So we are working on obviously AI texting. So for lead qualification purposes, there's a few systems that we're using for qualifying those online team generated leads through texting and AI voice. And then we're using it a lot also internally behind the scenes for system operations standpoint. So we're heavily active with EXP revenues. So we do a
Mhm.
lot of BPOs, broker price opinions, and we're using AI constantly for researching the property, the community, and getting the background information or collecting the data in a faster manner so that we can complete those in a faster manner. So those would
Okay.
be like the two biggest ones.
I'm curious, you talk about the lead qualifying of online leads. What's that process look like?
So it's basically the AI texting agent will reach out to the lead the moment that they register on the website or that they do some specific hand raise and start the conversation and attempt to gather information from that contact over a series of text messages, which are more than just like templated text messages. It's typically once the lead responds. I mean, it'll be like different text messages to get the lead to respond. And then once the lead responds, the conversation will adapt and the questions will change based off of what the information that the lead is providing. So it'll be able to basically gather and qualify the lead to determine if they are thinking about buying, thinking about selling, what their budget is, if they're selling, what property it is, what their motivation is, and kind of like those initial data points to then at the end book a call or ask when a good time is to schedule a call or appointment. And that would be with myself or one of the agents.
Okay. My team has been exploring using Zapier and Innate along with chat and other tools to create those automations. Did you do this yourself, or is this a service that you're using?
So there's two platforms. Some of this is built into Wailopo as a service.
Okay.
So they have the AI calling and AI texting built in. And then we've looked at different platforms to make something a little bit more customized to our area. Just because when you typically buy these things as a service, they don't have the entire context, right, of how we run our business, where we serve, what neighborhoods we cover, what other things we do outside of just transactions, and that kind of thing. So another platform we've looked into is Go High Level and a few others, besides just building something super custom. It's like an idiot, but that is possible.
Ben, thanks for doing this with us. We really appreciate you, man.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, so there you go. Ben Lobby talking AI, sphere of influence with Brian Ellington. And by the way, guys, you may have noticed that's some clips of their conversation. There's a longer version of that conversation. So if you want to see the whole conversation, make sure you log on to EXP's YouTube channel. Just go into YouTube, type in the search bar at the top, EXP, and I would type in for that one, Ben Lobby, Laube. Laube, and it'll pull you right to the site where the YouTube has that full interview set up with Brian Ellington. You guys want to check it out. If you like that, watch the whole version on YouTube. All right, so next up we have Agent Advantage talking about Fixer. If you guys haven't heard about Fixer yet, I'm actually using Fixer in my business, and for the most part, I've actually got it pretty figured out. Easy, and it works great. So check this out. More about Fixer to help your email.
Hi, everyone. Really happy to be here today. I'm Archie, I'm co-founder of Fixer, and we are an EXP solution trusted provider. I had the pleasure of meeting Glenn 6 months ago, and we specifically built Fixer to give EXP agents a competitive edge. Fixer is a tool that is made to help you save 1 hour every day. We have 4 clear features. First, an email organizer that helps you see important actionable emails so you never miss an opportunity. Email drafting. For emails that need a response, Fixer drafts replies in your tone with full context of your business. Meeting scheduling. Fixer reduces emails back and forth when you are scheduling meetings. And a note taker, which automatically joins your video calls to capture clear, concise notes so you can stay fully present. Why is Fixer so valuable for realtors? It was shown that in 50% of cases, the first person to reply to the lead is the one who gets the deal. This means it's super important that you're always on top of your inbox. And that is why What Fixer does is so useful to you. It lets you quickly view which emails require a response and automatically sorts the rest so you can focus on them later. It also considers the specific thread, your past emails with the recipient, and your overall tone of voice, tailoring the reply to them personally. The result, a smart, human-sounding draft email that feels like you, not AI. Don't take our word for it. Listen to Glenn.
Fixer will take your close ratio or your ability to put a deal together dramatically higher. More and more email comes into my inbox each and every day, and I found Fixer, added it to my G Suite, and I can't believe how easy it is to install. It has one category called to respond, and it already had pre-done a response or two to choose from to send out. And what was crazy is that they were really good. It really just helps me stay focused and be more present for the clients I do have.
Over 1,000 EXP agents are already using Fixer, and it's been wonderful hearing their feedback.
I've been using Fixer for just about 3 or 4 weeks, and I am absolutely in love. I went from having like 2,000 unread emails to keeping everything organized in folders. I know exactly where everything is. I recommend it completely. It's changed my professional life, honestly. I'm so in love.
Fixer saves me time in my inbox, and it pulls out the emails I need to respond to so that I can make sure that the people that need to hear from me are getting responses, and that's the most important thing. I love Fixer.
It's already 1 month that I'm using Fixer, and already my life changed, my day changed, because really I save so much time.
I love Fixer because it gets you time back. I wasn't able to actually find what I was looking for and have the drafts prepared. It saves time, it focuses me, and then I can go in and edit instead of start from scratch.
Fixer is super simple to use, only takes 30 seconds to get set up. Over to Rich for a quick walkthrough.
Let me show you how to save an hour a day using Fixer. First up, Fixer organizes your emails into 8 different categories and puts your most important emails right at the top. In here, drafts will be automatically created for you, so you just click in, see the draft, check it's ready, and click send. Here's another one from Lucy, who's asking for some time to meet me tomorrow. Fixer would automatically look into my calendar, find some times that I'm available, and share them in the draft. If none of those times work for Lucy, then she can just book a time directly using my link. Fixer also takes meeting notes. I had a meeting earlier, and afterwards Fixer sends me a full recording, a transcription, and a summary with key points and next steps. You can also chat with the meeting transcript. So, in a future date, I want to ask, what date did I promise to follow up on? You can just ask Fixer. That's some of Fixer's features. It's really easy to use straight out of the box, and connecting it can be done in a couple of clicks with either Outlook or Gmail.
So that's Fixer. Join thousands of realtors that are already using it to save time and close more deals. Like Glenn said,
it really just helps me stay focused and be more present for the clients I do have.
And the best part is you can access Fixer as part of your EXP toolset. If you have any questions, we're always here to help. Go to fixer.com to get started today.
All right, so there you go. More info about Fixer. If you guys haven't checked that out, jump in and check that out. I had an email, actually, funny enough, I was reading the email and I'm looking at it going, I didn't realize it was my response to the email that had come in. And I thought, when did I type? I thought I typed it. It looked like something that I would respond. It was that accurate. It looked like the way I would respond to somebody. So give it a go. Take a look at it. See if you can put that in your business to save you some time and save you some energy doing things that are more mundane, like responding to things that are regular stuff. Okay. So check out Fixer. It's a great program. All right. So there you go. That is the show for July 18th. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. NPS survey, as usual. Jump up there, open your camera, give us a scale rating on a scale of 1 to 10. Let us know how we did. And of course, you can always add in a comment to let us know what you like and what you don't like, or a suggestion on what we could do to take the business to the next level, the business that we call the show Big Agent Meeting. So we thank you guys, for every one of you, for being here today. And the day's not over yet. If you want to, stay tuned for iConversations coming up next. See y'all next week.